Good morning. Y'all doing all right? Let me move some microphones.
I told you it was coming
Sorry
down.
about that. So, my apologies.
Happy Sunday night, Governor.
That'll work. Happy signing die. That was going to be my first line. Happy signing die, everybody. Working with the General Assembly this year, we've done a lot this legislative session. I just want to thank the members of the General Assembly, Lieutenant Governor, Speaker of the House, and other constitutional officers that we've been working on for a great, in many ways, historic legislative session. Especially want to thank them for their hard work on Hurricane Helene relief, which had broad bipartisan support. We're also very proud to be sending another $1 billion tax rebate back to our citizens to help them fight through the high cost environment that we've been living through the last 4 or 5 years. And then doing, again, another tax cut for personal income tax and business tax, continuing to lower our rate by 20 basis points. And of course, our signature thing this legislative session, passing meaningful and significant tort reform. Also, as you remember, 5 years ago, after the tragic murder of Ahmaud Arbery, the General Assembly and I came together, and I was proudly able to sign significant anti-hate crimes legislation. Just last year, I had the opportunity to sign a piece of legislation that sent a unifying message that anti-Semitism will not be tolerated in our state. And today I signed SB 36, also known as the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, or RFRA, ensuring that once again at the state level that Georgians are protected, including Georgians of faith. And I wanted to let everybody know that despite signing that legislation, Georgia still remains a state that there's no place for hate. And I can assure all Georgians of that today. With that, I'll be glad to open it up and take any questions you might have.
10 years ago, there was threats of economic boycotts and other backlash. Do you see that happening after you sign this bill?
I don't. I mean, obviously, I can't control that, but I think the way that we've done this, the debate that we had centered around it, what we've done over the last 6 years, a lot of those things that I just mentioned, and also having a piece of legislation that basically mirrors what is in the federal statute that Bill Clinton pushed and that former U.S. Senator Sam Nunn supported, will hopefully send a message that it would be foolish to do something like that in the state of Georgia. I think Georgians and the business community know that I'm not going to back down. If that does happen, I'm going to support what we have done here today, because I think it's a common sense piece of legislation that mirrors what a vast majority of the other states in the United States have done.
Governor, how would you address the concerns from Democrats and from the LGBTQ community that this would justify discrimination?
Yeah, I just don't buy that. I don't buy that. I don't think we've seen that in other states. And I think our record speaks for ourselves here in Georgia when you think about anti-hate crimes legislation, what we did on anti-Semitism, how this legislative body, myself, our constitutional officers in a bipartisan way have stood up and sent that message over the last 6 years that I've been governor, and really over the almost 9 years before that I was Secretary of State and when I served in the General Assembly.
Governor, can you talk about how this will interact with other laws? For example, if a person's faith tells them that light begins at birth, not conception.
Well, I'm not going to get into trying to negotiate or I guess get into the legalese of individual certain situations. I don't believe that. I mean, look, this has been in the federal statute since I think it was 1993. So what we have here is the same thing that's been in the federal statute. So if there's instances that happen, we have ways to deal with that. The judiciary has ways to deal with that. But I don't think you're going to see that in this state. And if you do, there'll be mechanisms where we can deal with that.
Governor,
We'll do one last question.
Can you talk about SB 12? That's a bill that some language got tacked on late on Wednesday night that would limit some transparency in state government, limit some communications, even limit some access to police records.
Well, I think you can understand from my points we made on tort reform, that we felt like transparency was good in that process, to make sure that the jury heard both sides of the argument, not just one side that benefited one side of a legal case or not. And so, you know, I haven't seen what the legislature's done other than just reading a blip in the paper about it. But we'll look at the legislation today. We'll see what ends up passing or not passing. But you know, I think the General Assembly knows that I'm a pretty transparent person, as you can see being out here answering your questions today. I hope y'all have a great day. Happy signing. God bless.
Thank you, Governor.